Where
Oh,
are we? All
we're now live.
right.
We are live.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. I don't see Dr. Nelson, but I
He's on a
see,
plane.
what's that?
He's getting on a plane.
Sandy. We
San
got
Diego.
Max. We got Michael. We got Amy. Good morning, Amy. How's the walking, Candy? I'm on day 4, no food. I'm going to actually complete it with day 5 tomorrow with Brother Ray in Irvine, California, celebrating my father. What is he, Ray? 105 if he were still alive. And having some steak and Kiltz ice cream. Let's see, Terry from Arkansas. What we got going on here? Great to see everyone. KMT in the morning around the globe, inspiring all of us lions to come back to the lion's way and lead like lions, not like sheep. And I've been having a great conversation with Brother Ray this morning and talking about a priori and epistemological ideas and why we're lions, not sheep. And a little bit of a sip of whiskey, wine, or beer infrequently is not our problems. It's fermentation in our gut and too many glasses on a regular daily basis. Deadly.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
And Elise, how you doing?
I am doing great, Dr. Kiltz.
Another fantastic day in God's paradise.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. Where are you communicating from in this world?
I am in Woodside, California, which is basically in the Redwood Forest in the Santa Cruz Mountains above Stanford University. And it's kind of the same distance to Half Moon Bay, which is on the Pacific Ocean, and Stanford, which is a little bit inland.
Yeah. So you're on the basic peninsula south of San Francisco, essentially.
Right.
Yes? Oh, beautiful area.
It is. It's beautiful.
Love it. Yeah, I grew up in LA. I lived in Berkeley for a while, worked in San Francisco and Berkeley, and went to medical school in Sacramento, Davis, which was fantastic. I love it. So,
yeah, I lived for 7 years in Berkeley, so it was great to have some time in the East Bay over there to really different microclimate. And then the Palo Alto area, where Stanford is, also has a beautiful climate because the Santa Cruz Mountains shields Palo Alto from the cold marine fog.
Yep.
So we just get crazily weather right where Stanford is.
Right. Well, that's the beauty of California. Basically, you can go from desert to ocean and all other climateric environments in between, and that's the beauty of all of it. I love it. Well, tell us a little bit about Annalise. Is that how I pronounce your first name?
Well, my mom says Annalise, but people just say Annalise, as the spirit moves them, and that's totally fine with me. So I was born in Milwaukee. I'm 57 years old, and I have been a professor at Stanford in bioengineering for, I guess, 19 years now. It's amazing.
Whoa.
Time flies. Bioengineering at Stanford is really an amazing department. Just when I say that, I mean, the faculty that make it up, I think the core of us is about 35 and just really close-knit, happy department, working on all aspects of trying to engineer, in a lot of cases, it's proteins, lipids, molecular motors from cells, and my particular focus is more in the area of human health, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease and what causes them. But I'm also a carnivore, so that's relevant to this community.
So bioengineering, what a quick definition of what is bioengineering?
So bioengineering is basically the study, and in particular, the guidance of natural systems into interesting and hopefully, either biotechnology or medicine related targets. I mean,
What you know about protein?
We're going in and out a little bit, Annalise.
Oh, shoot.
We'll get her back.
Yeah.
Let's get her back.
While she's out, I just want to mention we got the Tampa meetup in 3 weeks.
Right.
Sorry,
So
we're back
she
now.
oh, Annalise, we lost you for a second.
Yeah, so my internet is a little bit unstable.
It's okay.
But it'll always come back.
So how did you get into the bioengineering? What was your drive and directive to see this as like, oh, I want to do this?
So basically, as a kid, right, I loved mathematics and chemistry. So I was encouraged to go for a major of chemical engineering, which is what I did study undergrad, University of Washington in Seattle. I grew up, although I'm originally from Milwaukee, my parents, both from the Midwest, transplanted to Seattle. And so after finishing undergrad in chemical engineering, I then went to UC Berkeley and did a PhD in chemical engineering. But the PhD project I did was really in the area of DNA analysis and biotechnology. So I started down the bio track. And the other thing I was interested in was creating better mimics of natural antimicrobial proteins, which are part of the human system. So I was studying antimicrobial peptides, which are just this extraordinary class of natural host defense molecules in the human system, but also in every form of life. And these are exciting because they function in the body to prevent infection, but they aren't, they're natural, they're produced on demand, right? Which is what's so exciting. And so we decided to try to look at the principles by which those molecules function as natural antibiotics and then try to mimic them with a more stable molecule.
Where does the glycocalyx and the glycobiome come into play? I mean, I do a lot of post-translational modification of protein research, and Carolyn Bartozzi, I think she was at Stanford.
Yeah, she was at Berkeley for a long time, and then she moved to Stanford. I think it's probably now almost 10 years ago. She moved.
Right, and she got a Nobel Prize. I mean, the glycocalyx and glycobiome, I think we missed the understanding that sugar is not molecular energy. It's actually a cellular labeling, communication, and structural formation that we've given the power to proteins, but proteins are nothing without post-translational modification. What's your take on that? Because
so Carolyn's a friend of mine. I've known her. I think we met each other in 1999 when we both got this big award at the White House with our parents for our research. So when we were just like baby assistant professors, we met. She is a genius. She's amazing and just such a cool person. And yeah, what she's been working on is how the surface, glycolipids and also just, sugar modifications on the surface of cells send signals in the context. More recently, she's been interested in cancer. And then she also
we'll get it. She'll come back.
Yeah.
the issue is more like considering the signals that the surface lipids send. And that is really, in terms of human biology, it's still a huge frontier because it's been studied in the context of cancer. But we need to understand more about, if you don't eat sugars, if you don't overdose yourself on carbohydrates and sugars, you probably end up with a glycocalyx around more and sending the calming signals, right? Because that somehow when people eat carbohydrates, there's a lot more inflammation, and that certainly part of that could be cell surface lipids, just what gets decorated on there based on your diet.
Well, getting back to Otto Warburg and Thomas Seyfried's work, on cancers, and then Carolyn Bertozzi's work, I mean, just fascinates me. Maybe one day we could get Carolyn on for
Wow.
a conversation.
Let me find her.
You know, that would be fantastic. We could do a panel or something, because, you know, the work there and what you're doing is really working to dig deep and understand the real science in what's going on. And so by eating, tell me a little bit about your carnivore journey. What are you talking about, carnivore?
Yeah. So I changed my diet, you know, kind of, you know, probably over the course of about 2.5, 3 months, starting January. And I had been, you know, work and just sitting and typing, and I was out of shape. And I had early stage type 2 diabetes. I had, you know, pain in my knees and my feet. I had plantar fasciitis, which I still haven't been able. I have done research on it, but I can't see that they even know what causes many of these autoimmune diseases. Certainly not plantar fasciitis, right? And what they offer, if you want help with, say, foot pain, they say, well, we can cut the bones in your feet. And it was this insane surgery they wanted to do, right? So I said, no, I just have to change my lifestyle. And I had seen Sean Baker on Joe Rogan, and I started researching it, found Dr. Barry. This was, you know, back in late 2019, and I decided to try it. And it was a little bit tough to get going, but then I went to 1 meal a day, mostly beef. And, you know, and then I just started feeling so good, and I lost 65 pounds. I put some of that back on, but just because I haven't been perfect with it always. But, you know, New Year's, we're close to New Year's, January 15th today.
Thanks everyone for being here. I know we're going in and out a little bit, but this is really fascinating.
And
great
it
story.
did cure. I should also say, yeah, I think this, my internet keeps coming in and out, and that's because I have a Starlink that works pretty well, but not perfectly. And then my Xfinity is out. Do you want to reschedule until I
No,
can?
let's keep going. We're good.
Okay.
We're good. Because we are going to do another one, and we're going to figure it out for sure. but this is really remarkable, because I love your background. I mean, what does the science self and the community that we're so entrenched in think about what you're doing and explain how you're healing?
Right. I've done interviews. I've done a couple with Carrie Mann of Homestead How. I've done a couple with Dave Mack on No Carb Life, and then I did like a longer, deeper dive with Dr. Anthony Chafee a few weeks ago, and I think that's going to come out on YouTube soon. And basically, as a scientist, I'm fascinated with the fact that even just a keto diet, of course, which I consider, you know, polluted with.
Thank you everyone for hanging out. Don't leave us. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
We are.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's well shown by Chris Palmer and Georgia Eads. And then, you know, now Dave Mack on his channel, he has like at least 23 cases of people that have put multiple sclerosis, which is a debilitating and serious autoimmune disease as it progresses, totally into remission simply with a change to a carnivore diet. And that's the aspect that's fascinated me, because if we are putting MS into remission, we are healing autoimmunity, a severe autoimmunity, right? And my question that I've been deeply thinking about is, why does carnivore treat multiple sclerosis? We've also seen some cases of Parkinson's put into remission. So Mimi Morgan is a great example. So when you look deeply into these diseases, Multiple sclerosis is actually caused by Epstein-Barr virus. And, you know, these viral infections that get out of hand also lead to cancer, which we were talking about before, right? So
Right.
human papillomavirus, cervical cancer, but there's so many examples where a chronic infection like H. pylori infection of the stomach lining leads to stomach cancer. So that's not even a virus, it's a bacterium. And it can lead to this, you know, the immune system going awry. And I even think of cancer, you know, the state of cancerous growth to be the immune system going awry and getting the wrong signals, which is exactly what Carolyn's working on. But diet can fix those physiological states that are pathological and bring them back to health, and do it in a gradual and gentle way, which is really how your body prefers to make changes. It doesn't prefer surgeries and chemo and radiation. It prefers to heal naturally. And carnivore does it. So that's really my expertise, is infectious disease. I'm not a doctor, I'm a PhD researcher, but I work on a study of all different kinds of infections, viral, bacterial, and fungal, and how to try to clear the pathogens when it is a life-threatening infection host. So that's
Interesting. You know, I give it a second. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Almost there. Thanks for staying, everyone. I mean, my sense is that a low-fat diet is the most deadliest diet because it feeds the microbes in the gut. Bacteria and viruses love us, and they're just hanging out with us, causing all the diseases. And MS, ALS, dementia, depression is basically a disease of fermentation in the microbes and deadly plants. I call it, it's a little similar to what we might say is poison ivy disease. And okay, so we're poisoned by plants, Annalise.
yeah.
We're poisoned by plants and the microbes that come with it.
Right. And I think it's, you know, certainly, and that's what I was just discussing with Dr. Anthony Chafee over email the past couple of days is, you know, what part of the poisoning is the plant lectins, which is definitely a thing. Like for me, I forgot to even mention, you know, all my diseases were cured. I also had like pretty severe ulcerative colitis for 10 years before I started carnivore, which I never went to the doctor for because honestly, I don't trust them. So I trust you, Dr. Kiltz. But, you know, I just, you know, it's like, please stay away from my delicate tissues, right? You just never know.
Well,
So
would you walk down
that? Yeah.
right? So would you walk down the street and just grab the grass and the plants and eat them as you're going down the street?
No,
None of us
never.
would. And so ultimately, there's a simple story here. Plants make poisons and make substances to either get you not to eat them or to get you to eat them. And the microbes ferment in the gut and make alcohol. And you know, this is, you know, one of the craziest things we're talking about here. And I'm just thrilled to have Annalise here and everyone, by the way, having this conversation, because science is sometimes a little snake oilish, trying to sell us something. When I go back to the Bibles and the stories, and Annalise is sharing a story, and what are you on now? You on your phone, Annalise?
No, I'm still on my laptop. I just moved to a different part of the house that's closer to the Wi-Fi router.
Well,
Oh,
tell
okay.
me your experience and story, which is a little biblical in reality, because we're sharing a story and modern science just doesn't latch on to it. How have you factored those things into your experience here?
Right. So essentially, you know, the experience of one person is simply an anecdote, right? And in general, science is very suspicious of anecdotal things and personal stories. They say, oh, you need a large clinical trial with, you know, a placebo arm and yes, you do. But, you know, if you look at Dave Mack's channel, and I've watched hundreds and hundreds of people's stories, you know, now when you get to like 1,500 case studies and you just keep hearing the same, you know, essentially a very similar kind of healing journey over and over and over again. And the patterns that really fascinate me with regard to keto versus carnivore is you'll often see that people with significant autoimmune issues, they do better on.
We're all being patient. Thank you, everyone. It's like a nice view back there.
Yeah.
And then they heal completely only when they go carnivore. And that was the case for me. So my ulcerative colitis, which was at least 10 years of, you know, essentially a bleeding gut, went away, was completely healed. I think the intermittent fasting, OMAD, and I did do one long fast. I did a 40-day water fast in spring of 2023, and that really healed it completely. It was only the 40-day fast that completely eliminated the Hashimoto's. So your body has the ability to heal, but sometimes I think fasting is an important tool as well.
Yeah, the fasting, I always say faith, fatty meat, fasting, and the flow of life. We're not saying don't be in the standard world, because you have to be there in order to have an impact on others and yourselves. We're in a cultural community, and I was talking to Brother Ray about this and about, okay, can you have a sip of whiskey, wine, or beer from time to time, or a bite of a cake in celebration of my father's birthday? I don't run from that, but I recognize now, if you have something that you have an anaphylactic reaction to, you know,
don't eat that.
And all of this, and who has an anaphylactic reaction to ribeye steak?
Nobody.
Oh,
the other thing, you know, so the issue, plant lectins have to be causing part of the problem, right? Because they need to be fully eliminated for some people to heal their gut. But the sugars, this is the part that relates to my expertise, because I teach a graduate course in immunology at Stanford. It's called Bioengineering Innate Immunity. And we talk about, you know,
Lance, Paul, Clark, thank you, everyone. I think George is here, and everyone, thank you. Hang in there. We're gonna work on this. Does the good Dr. Kiltz sell a book for them to change their lives so that they have a better chance, safe birth? Yeah, I mean, that's all my books on: The Fertile Feast, The Baby's Diet, Kiltz's Keto Carnivore, Living Your Best Life, and The Family Building Guide. Those are all on Amazon, by the way. And and I think they're really powerful. Go ahead, Annalise.
Yeah. So the main thing is that there are many studies now, but really one amazing one from 1973 that I only found about a year ago.
73 study. We got to get that. Patience is a virtue. Where is that? Who said that? There we go.
Yeah, it weakens your immune system. And in particular, it weakens.
What was the paper?
It's called The Role of Sugars in Human Neutrophilic Phagocytosis. And I can send it to you once we get off. And because it's actually kind of hard to find. But the researcher, it was a brilliant study. He had people just drink 100 grams of a simple sugar. I think he looked at 4 or 5 different sugars. And one of the samples he had them drink was just orange juice. And then he measured the ability of their white blood cells to function properly to engulf bacteria called phagocytosis in the 5 hours after that, but with many data points. So he actually took blood 30 minutes and then 1, 2, 3, and 5 hours after they ingested these simple sugars. And basically it completely stopped their immune system.
Read the paper, by the way. I've read all of the Kiltz papers.
Oh, wow.
And immunology stuff. And because the Kiltz is actually the king. And that's the part we're missing, because we're not allergic to proteins. We're not allergic to fat. We're allergic to plant sugars. And they're the most immunologic inflammatory producing substances. The Kiltz is the cause of all inflammation. I mean, the blood type is determined by a sugar, not a protein. That's the amazing part of the Kiltz. That's why I love Carolyn Bartozzi and the essentials of glycobiology, because what you're saying here is that I went off plants, which are highly allergenic, because plants contain a tremendous amount of mannose sugars. There are 9 sugars in the human body, and ultimately that's what we're finding is because you think about it. Sunlight, CO2, and H2O make glucose essentially, and then the cells of the plants and the other photosynthesizers then make an amazing array of every substance available to the universe, and we're allergic to the glucose layer, the sugar layer, and that's the part that I think is real fascinating. And we're gonna tease this out of Annalise even more so in and out here. What other questions? Let's make sure we get some comments and questions while we're here with Annalise.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is for her. Let's see. I thought multiple sclerosis was called muscular sclerosis in the 50s.
Well, MS is a form of neuromuscular disorder, right? So that's we definitely have a neuromuscular damage, which is basically plant protein, low fat diet disease, and the fact that plants make heroin, cocaine, marijuana, nicotine, caffeine, and neurojunction. I mean, cyanide comes from plants, and we're changing the names and we make it complicated. Poisoned by plants in a low animal fat diet because of autonomous fermentation and alcohol syndrome. That's really it.
Yeah.
It's such a simple, and it's so simple. It's so dumb, because science is controlling messages. Rockefeller and the Flexner Report and the current authoritative rule of governments around the world to govern you and I to be sheep and lose our lion's way. And that's what we're here to do. We're going to see, we're really excited, and we're going to look at it. We might be adding a few open slots to the Kiltz home lion's way. And, again, we'll talk about that, Holly. We'll figure it out. But again, we're coming together in the community to learn a message in a way, and then go out there as to share this. This is a spiritual experience and conversation, because God is within all of us. I don't care what your belief of God is, but in our ancient brothers and sisters that just looked to the moon, the sun, the stars, and came back. So we're not going to lose you, Annalise. We got you here.
Well, the great thing, Dr. Kiltz, is I know you do a brilliant job filling in when my internet goes out. I'll have a stern talk with Xfinity today. But, I was basically what I was just getting to is you've got exactly what you've been saying. On one hand, we have all of the lectins, which come from plants, which are carbohydrates essentially, and get recognized by our bodies immunologically. And
and basically trying to kick them out. Get rid of this foreign substances. That's what it's doing, right? That is it. Glycocalyx. Go ahead, and
Yeah, but
keep going.
The main thing that simple sugars suppress the effectiveness of the immune system. And I think that, we're 100% interested in reducing inflammation. Well, one of the things that causes chronic inflammation is a chronic low-level infection by a bacteria, fungus, virus, parasite. And there are so many infections that humans can carry within the gut, even within the nerves for herpes viruses, right? That, are not very often perceived by us, but they are having effects. So I think the effectiveness of keto and carnivore actually relates to the fact that not eating sugar strengthens your immune system, and your body's able to set its house in order in every way when the immune system is working properly. And honestly, I think changes to diet and getting sunshine, vitamin D, getting enough sleep and exercise, that's all the human body needs. And so this is one thing that's been hard for me now is I understand the power of natural healing. You start to feel, I do anyway, in my old age, start to feel almost hostile towards pharmaceutical situations. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't need any pharmaceuticals. Yes, I think antibiotics can be important in life-threatening situations, but I believe in natural healing.
Well, I treat most infertility, male and female, with antibiotic, antifungal, antiviral for 30 days. Really strict fatty meat carnivore, 1 meal a day, and rare to raw with salt. And I think because we make it a complicated story, that we're gonna, no matter what, the microbes are there, and bacteria, yeast, and viruses are our major killer, and they're not going to go away. Even if you're full carnivore, I think again, we're in a war with all other organisms, and
Exactly.
we're just food and fertilizer for them anyway. and again, we're never going to stop. This is not a world of we're going to prevent all disease. No way. Is without, and again, it's not actually, diseases are part of evolution of all organisms.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the best that we can do is strengthen our immune system to the maximum degree possible with our choices. And I truly believe that the most calming, healthy diet to maximize immunity is as close to zero carb as you can stand to be.
High fat. I focus on the word high fat because ultimately, what fat looks like. The truth is, when we use the phrases carbohydrates, sugars, and protein, there is no animal that eats that. They eat either animals or plants, and animals that are killed and properly consumed, you eat the nose to tail, everything. You're not going to leave the fat and cut it away. I see so many carnivores at all of these meetings. They cut the fat away. They eat overcooked meat, which renders the fat gone and damages it, in my opinion.
Yes.
And so I think the fat-centric model, rare to raw, with salt and fasting, is probably the ancient, our true ancient evolution.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. And the one thing that can't be denied, you how long have you been carnivore, Dr. Kiltz?
Well, 15 years this year. And look, when I use the word carnivore, oh my God, I eat some fries sometimes, or a martini or ice cream. I don't lose sleep over that. But
I'm the same.
90%, 99% is ribeye steak, fatty, raw.
Exactly. I have mine pretty rare too. That's the main thing. So as experienced carnivores that occasionally, indulge in a glass of red wine or some, frites with your steak, frite, right? Whatever. on occasion when I go out, not normally, not when I'm at home, but you start to realize how when you focus on eating mostly fatty ribeyes, which is also what I love to do, with butter and salt and water, mostly just that, how great you feel, how amazing your mood is, how happy you are. And then, the extent to which you deviate, you notice it. It's small things, but you notice it. So for me, it's been 6 years and I just feel fantastic on carnivore. That's just the fact of it.
Right. And so we don't need a scientific explanation, but I love it because I'm a scientist. And I think that this, again, I've been doing it. I feel the best. And I know what I used to feel like and the things I used to suffer from. And now it's a game changer. And so I think what you're saying as a bioengineer is there is a story here that actually makes sense.
Absolutely. And the thing is that I'm hoping to contribute to the community, and I'll see you you're going to be at Meatstock, right?
I'm going to be there.
Okay. So I signed up and got the VIP ticket, so I'll get to come talk to you, which will be great. And yeah, I want to contribute this idea that, this inflammation that everybody feels going away, that you treat to restore fertility, is related often to an unperceived, undiagnosed chronic infection with these pathogens that the body will never be able to fully clear, like Candida albicans, like the, HSV1 and human cytomegalovirus and Epstein-Barr virus that almost everybody carries by the 50. And your body.
Dr. Kiltz, you want to take this question until we get her back?
Oh, or the more the better. Well, fat is the building block of your body. Adipose tissue, by the way. You have to think about whole adipose sites, which contain every mineral, vitamin, amino acid, sugar, and fatty acid. And skinny is a deadly concept, which I think is part of our problem. Oh, I always say obesity and fat on your body causes no disease. I don't care if it's visceral fat or belly fat. A bear doesn't gain 1,000 pounds for hibernation, migration, gestation. They're dead. They can't reproduce. And so we're still fat phobic. And that's our problem. High fat, but you only eat fatty meat. I eat butter, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I love cold butter.
Oh my God.
It's so delicious. And this is the thing. I think what's probably ideal is to have at least 80% of your calories be fat. Do you agree with that?
Well, I mean, again, that's an overall generalization that eating fatty meat, remember, fat is twice the calories of a lean meat or a plant, technically, but it all depends how it's prepared and whether you're allergic or antigenic or it's high fermentable. But yeah, I think essentially the caloric intake, if we really kind of consider this a generalization, is eating raw fat is the healthiest thing you could eat technically because your body, your liver and insulin has one job: to convert dietary amino acids and sugars to fat in the liver to make VLDL, which is essentially a chylomicron molecule, to ship it to every cell of your body. Glucose is a glycosylating agent, and the way we consume plant sugars, they are glycating agents, which are poisonous. And so glucose is never a functional, survivable ATP making molecule ever. You cannot make adequate ATP or pyruvate acetyl-CoA out of sugars without a functional liver and insulin. And we are living in a sugar-centric model of science, not a fat-centric model of science. And since science is controlled by the dictators of the world that control the message, we're all screwed. Because it's controlled by Flexner Report and Rockefeller, who continue to control everything today, because, money is the master of the message.
All right, Dr. Kiltz, what about this question here? It's for you. I will go for a colonoscopy next Monday. Any advice for the preparation? Bioplegites. I worry about the preparation more than the test.
Have no worry, but have faith in the way. And we do lots of things in science and medicine, and standard testing, is it required? But we live in a world of a high plant protein, low fat diet. The microbes, as Annalise is speaking, I agree with her. They're in cahoots with the plants. And,
Exactly.
and I've had my colonoscopies through the years. I haven't had one in a number of years. I may go back just to say, all right, guys, take a look inside, but just for more entertainment more than anything. We
Right.
have not.
You're healthy. You're healthy, right?
Feel amazing. I feel amazing. I have a long history of bowel bleeding, hemorrhoids that have never been completely removed. They show themselves every so often, even on Carnivore. But they're very minimal to nothing these days. My bladder bleeding is gone, but the microbes, and if you get back to H. pylori and gastric ulcers, the guy scientifically proved that antibiotics will cure it more than anything else.
Exactly. And that's, what my research at Stanford is focused on: bacteria, innate immunity. And I just published an article in the Journal of Internal Medicine, which is, open. Anybody can read it, and I'll send it to you after this. You can maybe post it underneath this video. But basically, what we're working on is the fact that an anaerobic bacterium called Porphyria and essentially it lives in the mouth under the gum line. It causes gingivitis. So if when you floss your teeth, you have bleeding, then you have gingivitis, which is gum inflammation and infection. And that is caused by this organism, Porphyromonas gingivalis. It releases enzymes, which essentially turn off your antiviral immunity and dysregulate your whole immune system. And I believe then that it's the viruses, especially cytomegalovirus, that then cause Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, because those viruses are neurotropic. They live in the nerves that are, that innervate your lips. And you have this huge bundle of nerves behind your face called the trigeminal neurons. And it's like a nerve bundle that has a core. And that trigeminal nerve goes straight up into the middle of the brain, into the pons. And the virus can actually move through the nerves and reach the brain, because there's no blood-brain barrier within a nerve, right? That reaches the brain. So it's really these viral infections that cause, I believe, viral, bacterial and fungal. This is a co-infection.
What about this one, Dr. Kiltz? It's a quick one. What will happen if humans started carnivore since one day old?
The lions will lead again. Yes.
So,
Annalise, is the blood-brain barrier a myth? A mythologic idea, theoretical science, because it seems to me, what doesn't get to the brain like rapidly? Can we prove it? I'm all science and theory. I agree with you. The vessels, the nerves, they're all the highways of the universe. There's no wait a minute, stop, you can't come in.
well, yes, I mean, you get Baylor and other colleagues, basically, they obtain more than 1,000 brains of deceased people, and they did metagenomic sequencing, so deep DNA sequencing of the brain tissue. And they were actually trying to compare the protein and gene expression patterns between people that had Alzheimer's disease and people that were so-called normal or healthy, right? So you never 100% know that someone's healthy, but anyway, the positive, you've got your controls and you've got your subjects that definitely had dementia. And they were looking for differences between the human protein and gene expression. But what they found is pathogens in the brains, exactly as you're saying, Dr. Kiltz. They found a whole host of especially viral pathogens in the brain tissue, even in the so-called healthy, normal people, but it was a lot more in the people that had dementia.
Well,
2018.
There's no microbe that belongs in your blood or your brain.
But they find their way there.
When you have a healthy glycocalyx, the microbes cannot get through the epithelium of the bowels. And so it's that sugar mucopolysaccharide layer with the negative charge that says, F you. It's the cloak. The glycocalyx is the cloak. And the microbes create a masterful false cloak that you think it's you, and you let them in. And that's the amazing part of the story. So we're going to have such a great conversation at Meat Stock, Annalise. I know it. These ideas.
In addition to glycocalyx, you should realize that your gut lining. So a healthy gut is really the core of your healthy immune system, right? Your gut lining, that epithelium you're talking about, which is so important to keep intact and patent, and to you want to keep the pathogens away from them and not actually chewing on them. There's a layer of mucus, which you mentioned. Mucus is so important in the human body, and that is also all made of carbohydrates that your cells manufacture. So I'm convinced that if you ingest a whole bunch of simple sugar, which most people do every day, 3 times a day at least, probably more, you just derange your body's natural carbohydrates, mucus and glycocalyx that it's trying to put in place and keep in place to protect you. You just make it harder for your body when you eat this plants and sugars.
Right. And ultimately the microbes in the plants are highly allergenic to humans in general. I mean, if you added animal fat to your well-cooked plants and ate them infrequently, you're less likely to gain disease, and it's lifestyle in so many ways. I mean, cane sugar and beet sugar, and fructose. Is fructose made by nature?
Well, I mean, fructose exists in, say, an orange, right? Does it? Tell me. Maybe
it's natural. Natural. This idea that glucose and fructose equals sucrose, right? And so glucose and glucose is maltose, and glucose and galactose is lactose, right? They're natural sugars. When I hear the words like, oh, fructose is bad for you, well, it's not. It's nature's sugars where you eat sometimes.
Exactly.
But not all the time. Well, what's more important, living a long time or reproducing?
Reproducing.
Yes. And reproduction is being damaged in men and women at younger and younger ages, even in utero. Our exposure to the plants and microbes then put their DNA into the little egg embryos and sperm DNA and propagate the power of the plants.
And can I mention something? This is a little controversial, and this is my personal belief.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. No controversy here.
Luckily, it's so early, right? I think I can say something controversial at 3:49 a.m. my time. So I also think that, the vaccines that they have people taking like so frequently, especially as they get old.
Oops.
Many of them actually kind of shift and let's call it re-regulate in different ways the immune system. So I think, untouched natural human immunity is what is best. And there are some vaccines that actually strengthen immunity. BCG is one of them, but you can't get them in the United States.
What?
You cannot get them in the United States. So the ones that you can get in the United States, in my view, all weaken and derange the immune system across the board. So even while they may protect against that one pathogen that they're targeted for, they harm your whole immune system. And therefore, if anybody watching, this is my personal opinion, and again, I'm not a physician, I just teach immunology. I would say the fewer vaccines you can manage to take, the fewer you have a gun at your head for, keep it as few as you can. That's my view. Because I think that your natural immune system, it's strongly perturbed by these influences. And again, where it may protect against the one pathogen, it probably sets you up for dysregulation against when you face other pathogens. So we see, because what we seem to be seeing with the crisis in fertility, I mean, it really is a crisis, right? It's just people's immune systems are not quite normal, not the way they used to be, right? I mean, look, we're not even that old, Dr. Kiltz. I mean, we're not that old.
I'm young, 70.
Yeah.
I'm young.
Yeah, I don't even have gray hair yet. And yeah, and I think we've seen a tremendous change over the course of our lifetime, right?
Oh, huge.
Something is wrong, clearly. And fertility is really the most important signal.
And PCOS, pelvic pain, mood disorders, depression, anxiety, worthlessness are all diseases of a diet that is dictatorial.
Yes.
And not freedom forming.
Right. It's a diet that actually is in a lifestyle, right? That is continually weakening and just throwing your body off balance, making it, and everything shifts off balance. Your glycocalyx, your blood sugar will be too elevated too much of the time. And then your immune system is weakened and unable to function at its best. And, it's amazing how delicate we are to these perturbations.
Well, and it's also amazing how resilient we are and strong we are, even in the onslaught of bacteria, yeast, and viruses in the plants that want to make us fertilizer. I mean, they have one mission, just like us. We want to control them. They want to control us. So we think we're smarter than a microbe or a plant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
no way.
I mean, we're smoking them and injecting them and consuming them. They're like, yeah, go at it.
The other thing is, I just saw this 2 days ago. Apparently, like 97% of microplastics in the human diet in America come through plants and grains.
Wow.
Vegetables and grains. All the microplastics are coming on the vegetables and the grains. Probably not the beef.
Well, let's just say, look at. We worry about the thing we have almost no control of. Okay. I mean, we breathe, drink, and eat something, and you got to kill a cow. And in general, if you go out to try to kill a cow with your bare hands, it ain't happening. But you're right. I don't even give any thought or worry to that shit because, the microbes and the plastics are everywhere. That's not my problem. My problem in general is a low-fat 3 to 6 meals a day of a plant-centric, protein-centric, lean meat diet, which is deadly.
Well, it is. Other thing, at Stanford right now, the person who took over our BioX at Stanford. So BioX is basically kind of an umbrella program that oversees all the bio researchers at Stanford. The big push now is for a plant-centered diet and even vegetarian. And there's a professor at Stanford, Chris Gardner, who's been pushing vegan and vegetarian diets for just decades now. And so, now we're going to have a war between the vegans and vegetarians and the carnivores. And the carnivores are tremendously more healthy and robust, so we're probably going to win.
Yeah, it is, we don't need, so I'm not leading this to try to win and beat anyone. I just want everyone to know this is an option that you choose. Nobody else chooses for you. You choose what you think, what you eat, and how you live. Although, there are crazy dictators in the world that might take you down. That's just kind of the nature of life. But we're not going to go down without a fight, and we're not afraid to die. We're warriors. We're gladiators. We're creators and masters, right? And we still have a few more. We have 4 more minutes, Ali.
I know we have 4 more minutes. I just wanted to toss that in there.
Carnivore Junkie's the winner of what today?
A baseball cap. Email
Okay.
me and I will get it shipped out to you. Alia@drkiltz.com.
Awesome.
Somebody had a question about microplastics.
We're here to do something.
Exactly.
Right? Just get up and do something. If you're wrong, it's okay.
Right. And the great thing is you can always try something for a while and then change it. And then, that's the beauty. You get to make that decision every single day. The only reason I mentioned that kind of a war analogy is because, there's a lot of policy people that are trying to get rid of cows and beef. And I recently became a rancher. I bought a ranch almost 2 years ago. And now I have 23 cows.
Where's your ranch? Where is it?
Up in Northern California, just south of Ashland.
I love it. Beautiful.
And so we had our first crop of 6 baby calves just since December 15th. And it's just so wonderful to see those beautiful little calves out there in the field with their mothers. And, it's just a wonderful life. So I split my time between my ranch and Stanford.
Awesome. We got to see pictures of that. And
it's beautiful.
how beautiful. Ultimately, look at the humans that thrived around the globe 20,000, 50,000 years ago. Look at when we came to the Americas. There was some agriculture here, but so much of it was simply hunters and gatherers. And they finding and gathering and producing foods for your family was not an easy. It's hard today. We become industrial workers for people to make a bunch of money rather than recognizing we're here for us to help produce mighty lions and lionesses.
Exactly.
That's a real story here. I'm a scientist and I love medicine and science. And I'm not trying to break it down. I love our engineering and building and creating, but you can eat some plants. Plants are not your killers. The microbes are everywhere. They're not your killers. And fat is the only fuel for the mitochondria. I'm sorry. And exactly. Bears that are skinny in hibernation are dead.
Exactly. And also, it's good to have a little bit of body fat. It makes you look good.
Oh, men do not want skinny women. Again, it's the nature. We are driven to get fat.
Yes.
And
enjoy ourselves.
Yes. Yes. And look at cookie cake or ice cream from time to time, but I'm not touching kale.
No. I go for Dr. Kiltz's ice cream. I make it at home. I learned that from you. Thank you.
Either Bella's or Kiltz's ice cream. And I think high fat, small sugars from time to time are not your problem.
No, it's totally great. And the thing I did for my New Year's resolution is I started walking 10,000 steps a day, and I've been doing it.
We're going to cut off before 60 for sure.
We are going to cut off before 60.
And again, remember microbes. All the microbes make antibiotics and a fungal antiviral. They make them. Nature makes this shit, right?
That's where they came from originally, from
That's
bacteria.
correct. That's right. So Listen, Annalise, this has been really remarkable. Thank you. Even with the glitches, we just keep going and having a great conversation. So we're going to set this up and do it again. I look forward to seeing you at Meat Stock. I look forward to seeing everyone at Tampa or Kiltz's home for the mighty meetup.
Oh no,
And-
I want to go to that.
Well,
I'll tell you about
we're
it.
going to
Come
get
on
you
over.
there. So, all right. Goodbye, everyone.
bye.